from London. Please welcome Frank.
Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. A farmer gets put in prison for stealing money, and his wife writes him a letter. The other farmers are plowing now for the potatoes. What should I do? And he says, well, you can plow any of the fields except the large north field, because that's where I hid the money. The next day, the wife writes him back, I think they're reading your mail because today about 20 policemen came and they were digging up the north field. What should I do? He said, plant the potatoes. In February, I had the honor to go to Nepal, and I spent most of the time wandering in the mountains, near some of the largest mountains in the world, through the villages where people live the same way that they've lived thousands of years ago, without electricity, without machines, without running water. And for me, it was really just fascinating to watch how they lived. And I was walking down a dirt path, and a farmer came by. He had a really friendly face, and he was carrying a yoke. Now, a yoke is a wooden device that you put over on the neck of an ox in order to control him. And he smiled at me with a really kind of funny, comical face and said, come on with me. And I'm like, okay. So I followed him. And we went through past the fields, and finally we came to his field, which was a rice paddy, terraced, all the way down to the valley, about 500 meters below rice paddies. And in this paddy there were 2 oxen, and there was his brother, and he said, hi, I'm Ramakrishna, and they went about putting the yoke on the 2 oxen, which he thought I might like to see, which was, I did. I was really fascinated. And it was amazing to watch them push these oxen, which are huge animals, like 1,000 kilos, and they're pushing them around like they're babies. And within minutes, they had them yoked up. So it was just really great. And I was sitting there watching, and sat down and was watching them do the plowing, which I had never seen close up. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing, because it's like looking through history, through time, you know? Like originally we were hunter-gatherers, and then we became cultivators, and I was watching it live. So he went a couple rows, came back, and then he stopped right in front of me and went, woo, woo. So what's he want? And then I figured it out. He wanted to hear my saxophone, because I had played at the other end of the village, about 100 meters away, and I guess the sound carried, so he heard it. So I'm like, okay, well, why not? Why not? And then I thought, well, what could happen? What could happen? Well, maybe the oxen will freak out and start, you know, running around and tearing everything up. Or maybe a beautiful Nepali woman will come out of one of the huts and smile lovingly at me. Or maybe it'll start raining. I don't know. But actually what I imagined was nothing as good as what really happened. It was 10 times better. So I started playing my saxophone, and a few people came from the other fields. There were about 8 people around. They were all listening. And then Ramakrishna, the guy, he's standing there in the middle of the field, and the ox are in front of him. And he suddenly starts going like this, and then all of a sudden he started dancing. Da, 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 on the side of a mountain, all the way down, and it was just so funny. It was just hilarious. We all started laughing, and we laughed for a few seconds, but the interesting thing was that he didn't stop dancing. In fact, he danced the whole time, because he wasn't really trying to be funny. He was just feeling joyous. And in this special place, you know, in the mountains where people are different, it was okay to do that. And he was just dancing the joy of life, the wonder of existence. That was amazing. So we clapped and we shook hands, and I sat down and I was, you know, watching him plow again. But there was something that I was a little unsettled about. I wanted something more. And he went a couple more rows, and then I stopped him and I said, and he understood right away. And he said, okay, come on out. And I went out to the back of the oxen, and he gave me the stick. And so, and a quick lesson on how to steer oxen. So with the bamboo stick, I hit the right oxen on the right side, they go left. I hit the left oxen on the left side, they go right. I hit them on the back, and they go forward. And it was cool. So he was doing the plow and I was steering. And it was amazing how responsive. I felt like I was riding a Rolls Royce. You know, I just tap it and they go the other way. And these are huge animals. I mean, they could, you know, they could just run over me and not even slow down. That was really great. But still, part of me was unsatisfied. You know? And then I pointed like, and he looked at me like, I said, yeah, come on. And so he gave me the plow and the stick. I was doing the whole thing. I was going down and doing it, and that was great. I mean, it was like my genetic memories was, I mean, I must have been a farmer in, you know, 1,000 years ago, because I was reliving it. It was great. Then I looked at, you know, I did like 2 or 3 rows, and I looked back at my work, all these beautiful straight rows, and then there were my rows that were kind of like this. And that was all right. And I looked at him, and he didn't seem to mind, and he wasn't in a hurry. You know, in this place, there was no time. Time didn't matter, but there was a lot of space. Reminds me of another story. A city guy was walking around the farms in the farmland, and he saw that there was a farmer who was playing with a sheep. And he said, starts laughing like, oh my God, what are you doing? He said, well, we play with sheep out in the country. He said, well, that's weird. So you shouldn't say it's weird unless you've tried it. Why don't you try it? And the city boy looks around. There's nobody around. So, okay, I'm on vacation. I'll try it. And he walked out into the field and he found a sheep. And he started playing with the sheep. Farmer starts laughing. So what are you laughing about? You told me to do that. He said, well, pick the ugliest one. Okay.